you do is you go into an industry, you slightly weaken it, and then you're taking it over. They've weakened it by basically saying to everybody else, we're the only people that you need, which is they've proven to be the case.
Right. As Turki Alalshikh, the chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, partnered with UFC CEO Dana White to launch a new boxing league, a wide range of expert opinions have emerged. This multi-year partnership between Alalshikh and TKO Group Holdings aims to combine the promotional expertise of UFC CEO Dana White and WWE President Nick Khan to reshape and revitalize the boxing landscape. As the deal unfolded, Canelo shared his instant reaction to it, acknowledging it as a significant opportunity for the young fighters to step in.
It's gonna be good for boxing, for fighters fighting more often, you know, and like I say, I adapt myself to anything. I think it's gonna be good for young fighters.
While this is being touted as a prime opportunity for young fighters, neither Turki nor Dana have disclosed any details about the upcoming fights. However, Ariel Helwani uncovered a surprising revelation from Mark Shapiro, the CEO and president of TKO Group. He not only revealed the scheduled fights for the league, but also expressed some uncertainty regarding the criteria for matching these bouts.
Mark Shapiro, who's the COO and president of TKO, he said in a investor call last week that they're going to put on these 4 super fights, the new group, right? And so we all presume that the first one will be Canelo Crawford. Our friend Chris Mannix reported today that they're hoping one of them is AJ Fury, which is going to be interesting because you're going to have to play ball with others, you know, Eddie and Spencer Brown and Frank Warren, etc. Any of these guys, like, I was thinking then, is Canelo Bivol big enough?
Canelo Bivol?
Yeah. Is Canelo Benavidez big enough? Like, I'm trying to think what the 4 are. If those 2 are the first 2, then that's tremendous. Like, if you do Crawford, imagine you do Crawford Canelo in September and say AJ Fury in December.
Yeah.
Then what are the 2?
Shakur Javante. Shakur Javante. 100%.
I think Javante's playing ball.
While the deal is being presented as a potential benefit to the boxing community, it has raised serious concerns, with several analysts questioning its legitimacy. Famous boxing promoter Nisa Sauerland also shared his thoughts on the announcement, emphasizing that for a league to thrive, it must feature prominent fighters, something he finds lacking in this deal. Nisa pointed out that the partnership seems more driven by the financial backing of Turki Alalshikh and his partnership with Dana White, which, in his view, makes the deal somewhat flawed.
Listen, if you were going to set up a league, there's some names you definitely want involved. In boxing, we have a lot of announcements. We're the best at making announcements, yeah? But this announcement actually has a financial backbone and a very serious partner in Dana White, yeah? So I think it's brilliant.
With Dana White taking the lead, Turki Alalshikh appears confident in his vision to elevate boxing to new heights. However, Spencer Farron disagrees, pointing out flaws in Dana White's promotional management. To support his argument, Farron highlighted that Francis Ngannou's departure from the UFC was a result of the poor quality of promotions there. He also expressed skepticism about White being the frontman, noting the back and forth between Dana White, Eddie Hearn, and Oscar De La Hoya.
I don't know a lot about Dana White. But what I do know is that Francis Ngannou has left you and made records amounts of money with Turki Alalshikh, right? So I don't know, but I understand of that collaboration to say I'm going to put you as the front runner. Now it's kind of weird because I'm sure that Dana White went back and forth with Eddie Hearn a couple of times, went back and forth with famously with Oscar De La Hoya a few times. So I wonder how them men are feeling right now. Do you know what I mean? I wonder. You know what I mean?
Spencer strongly criticized the deal, raising significant doubts about its authenticity. He questioned the press release's claim of dominating the industry, asking whether the plan is to go solo. Farron pointed out the absence of established promotional companies like Queensberry, Matchroom Boxing, and others, wondering why they haven't been included in the initiative.
We're going to set up the biggest promotion and we're going all out, basically. So that, to me, reads as it's a solo venture that doesn't include Matchroom or Queensberry. I'm just trying to understand, like, you know, how are you understanding it?
You know what? I'm not in a position. Listen, I'm not in a position to talk about that because I don't know. But if they say we're gonna look to crush everybody, I thought they were nearly working with everybody anyway. You know what I mean? The only ones that weren't kind of on board with PBC, right?
Yeah.
Right. So when you say we're gonna crush everyone, who else is there to crush?
Amidst the speculation about whether prominent promoters like Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and others have been sidelined, Gareth A. Davies stepped forward to share his perspective. He also offered his insights on how this new league and its structure might unfold, revealing additional details about the league still in development.
And I know that the Warrens, Frank and George, are over in New York. Turkey's in for the Canelo press conference. Turkey's over there at the moment, so I'm sure they're all meeting and going over this. They cannot have been completely in the dark over it, in my view, because that shift's too radical. So they must have known about it. But it will challenge the fabric of what boxing has been and developed into, let's say, for the last 160 years.
Gareth A. Davies further emphasized the potential impact this venture could have on the boxing world. He shared his thoughts on how shifting away from traditional local broadcasters and bringing the fights to global platforms like Netflix and Amazon could take the sport to unprecedented heights. By tapping into these massive streaming services, Davies believes the league could reach a broader audience, revolutionizing how boxing is consumed and elevating the sport to a new level of mainstream visibility and appeal.
I think it will create more genuine competition. I think Netflix, Amazon Prime, and some not the traditional broadcasters will get involved. They're saying won't be till 2026 that Dana White will pick up the reins properly with Turkey. Has to be a long-term plan.
Being a major player in the industry, Eddie Hearn also shared his thoughts on the new boxing league, acknowledging it as a commendable effort to promote the sport and bring it to a wider audience. However, he expressed his disagreement with Dana White and Turki Alalshikh. While both White and Alalshikh have vowed to elevate boxing to another level, Hearn strongly disagreed, pointing out that boxing is not as broken as they might suggest. He emphasized that the sport has always thrived, and its traditional structure has proven to be effective over the years.
I'm pretty chilled with it. I think it's amazing news, to be honest with you. I mean, I think if you're comfortable with your business and you believe in your ability, I think it's brilliant. Like, I think what it shows is anytime someone like Dana White and TKO and Nick Khan want to make a play in boxing, that goes to show you where boxing's at. The one thing that I disagree with His Excellency and Dana White, boxing's not broken. Boxing's in the best place it's ever been, and boxing's been hot for a long, long time.
Backing his thoughts, Eddie Hearn emphasized that His Excellency Turki Alalshikh has already launched the Riyadh season, which has garnered a massive response and truly revived the spirit of boxing. He went on to stress that rather than focusing on whether boxing is in good shape or not, it's more important to assess where improvements can be made. Hearn acknowledged the need for sought-after leagues that create opportunities for one champion to stand out, but firmly disagreed with the narrative suggesting that boxing is not in its best form.
Riyadh season, His Excellency, he's injected that new lease of life, and of course a huge amount of money as well to make these big fights happen. So I don't think anyone's going to fix boxing, but can we improve it? Can we put better structures together? Can we come up with leagues that are going to work and find one champion and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, I think we should always look to evolve.
While Dana White believes that the belts are not necessarily significant, Eddie Hearn strongly disagreed, highlighting the rich history and legacy behind these titles. He emphasized that fighters compete for these belts because of the prestige they hold, and ultimately any suggestion to eliminate these belts and divisions would hold no importance for him. Hearn stressed the legacy of these belts, pointing out that past champions have always treasured them and fought relentlessly to earn them. He emphasized that these belts represent more than just titles. They symbolize the culmination of a fighter's hard work and dedication throughout history.
I don't agree with necessarily with, the kind of, what was it Dana said, we don't need 3 letters before a belt. You have to remember those governing bodies and those belts carry a huge amount of history and legacy. And fighters want to fight for those belts. Now, you've got the ring belt, which is, in my opinion, I've said before, even before His Excellency took it over, that is kind of like the Ring Magazine champion. He's kind of like the established #1 in the division. But, I've spoke, this whole thing about one champion, this is not a new thing. But trust me when I say, those belts have a big value to the fighters. And they're heroes. previous greats have held those belts as well.
Simon Jordan also expressed his frustrations. He described the approach taken by Dana White and Turki Alalshikh as boring and typical, criticizing the way they presented the deal. Jordan went on to assert that by excluding other prominent figures from the industry, Dana White and Turki Alalshikh have weakened the situation, missing an opportunity to create a more inclusive and impactful initiative.
This is a typical powerful play by people. What you do is you go into an industry, you slightly weaken it, and then you're taking it over. They've weakened it by basically saying to everybody else, we're the only people that you need, which is they've proven to be the case.
Right. Simon also took aim at His Excellency Turki Alalshikh, criticizing his limited approach to boxing. He pointed out that while Turki frequently talks about disrupting the industry and broadcasters, his new model appears to be narrowly focused, targeting only specific audiences. Jordan argued that this approach, rather than being revolutionary, could be destructive in its own right, restricting access and limiting the potential reach of the sport.
It's not something, he talks about the destruction of industries, he talks about the destruction of the broadcast platforms. He believes that they're going to own the content and that they're going to be able to force that content out to everybody else on the basis that the only people going to get the content that they are around boxing is people that have to ask him for it. So he's done a deal with owning DAZN. He'll probably stick some content on Netflix to ruffle DAZN's feathers. Ultimately, he'll do a variety of things. This boxing league adds another... Anybody that puts their head above the parapet and says they know what this is a liar.
On the other hand, Spencer Farron shared his thoughts on the business integrity of Turki Alalshikh's involvement in the deal. While he acknowledged and praised Turki's efforts, he emphasized that Dana White still has a lot to learn in terms of understanding how boxing truly works. Farron even speculated about a potential fallout with Dana White, suggesting that his journey in this new boxing league might not go as smoothly as expected.
Well, with Turki Alalshikh, there's an integrity there, right? There's integrity where he's not in love with the business aspect of it. He's in love with fighting, and he wants to see the fighters earn the best and get the best money, right? So nothing can be taken away from him. Now, him aligning with Dana White, even Dana White is gonna have to know his place, because he has to know, like, right, even though Dana White, yeah, brainchild and blah blah blah, and what you've done with UFC, but this is boxing. And he'll fall in line as well. They'll all fall in line. Let's be real.
As concerns about the inclusion of other promoters continue to surface, Gareth A. Davies stepped forward to share his perspective. He sees this as a potential shift that could revolutionize the world of boxing. Having observed Turki Alalshikh closely, Davies believes that everyone within the boxing community will be given an opportunity and that all stakeholders will work together under the leadership of Turki Alalshikh.
My view, and it's only my view, is that having seen him get everyone work together piece by piece, I think he's going to get everyone to work together with Dana White at this top level as well. And I think they will all work under the umbrella of Turki Alalshikh, Ring Magazine and Seller.
Moving on, following the announcement, no additional details have been released, but Dana White has stated that it will be based on the best boxing model. Renowned boxing analyst Spencer Oliver shared his thoughts, suggesting that this league could be a replica of the UFC. He speculated that fighters will be involved, with the structure potentially breaking away from the traditional multiple division setup to directly crown a champion.
Absolutely, I think that what they're trying to achieve here is what they achieved in that UFC with that model of, you know, one champion, one division, less divisions, but one champion of every division, instead of having your 4 champions that we've currently got with the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO. They're going to make it one champion, and it's going to be, then you know who that world champion is. It's the UFC model, basically, and taking it into the boxing world, which is going to work because I think it's going to reignite the appetite for boxing.
On the other hand, Simon Jordan believes that removing the WBO, WBA, IBF, and WBC titles would be a foolish move. He shared his perspective, arguing that such a step would ultimately diminish the integrity of competition in boxing. He also pointed out that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are aware of the details surrounding the situation, but how they will navigate the developments is still under discussion.
No, well, I think that. Do you think that will attract more fans?
There's a lot of noise. is, right? If you believe that WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, and whoever else of the Alphabet City are going to just disappear into the ether, then you're foolish. If you believe that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn don't know about this, and this is some sort of revelation to them, they know about it. And how they fold into it and what it becomes is this discussion.
Recently, it was announced that a deal worth $10 million had been struck, sparking reactions across the board. Ariel Helwani, known for his keen insights into the world of combat sports, responded to this announcement by highlighting an important perspective. He emphasized that $10 million is a relatively small figure for Saudi Arabia, especially considering the nation's vast wealth. Helwani went on to explain how Turki Alalshikh, a prominent figure in Saudi sports, has already demonstrated substantial investments in major TV shows and combat sports events. With these investments, Helwani believes that $10 million should be seen as just another step in the kingdom's strategy to further cement its role in the global sporting landscape.
But let me explain to you all why this is so gigantic. First of all, that $10 million number, that's just a number. That's nothing. You get a big time deal with a TV partner, it's obviously worth a lot more than that. We know that Turkey and Saudi Arabia have endless funds, the deepest of pockets. We have never seen funds in pockets and a willingness to invest in the sport of boxing and in combat sports in particular. We've never seen a figure like this come around. Witness the fact that they're putting on an event on May 2nd in Times Square. They're not even selling any tickets. They're not going to make any money off of this. Yeah, sure, there's the deal with the video game and whatnot, but come on. Putting on an event in Times Square, could you imagine what that costs? So forget about that $10 million number. This is a deal between Saudi Arabia aligning forces with TKO. They already do business with the UFC. They already do business with WWE as well, to completely change boxing.
While many fans are excited about the anticipated launch, which has garnered support from Saudi advisor Turki Alalshikh, former two-division champion Paulie Malignaggi has voiced his disapproval. In response to White and Alalshikh's latest promotion, Malignaggi criticized the UFC CEO's track record with controversial fighter pay. The former fighter turned analyst argued that White would carry over those same practices into boxing, a sport he believes offers greater financial opportunities than MMA. Malignaggi said on his YouTube channel, "Why would you align with a guy like Dana White, who has such a bad reputation for being a p with the way he pays fighters? Remember, it was going around that Francis Ngannou was making $600,000 a fight. Dude, the guys in boxing make 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars a fight at that level. You're gonna bring in a p like this, who has this reputation." Amid concerns about whether fighters would be paid inflated sums and whether promoters would be sidelined in this new business model, Eddie shared his thoughts on the situation. He emphasized that he is one of the best promoters in the boxing community, with contracts spanning 35 TV shows, all achieved without the backing of Saudi Arabia. Hearn expressed optimism about the TKO banner, asserting that it will offer substantial financial rewards for the boxers. While he admitted to not having full details about the deal, he highlighted that this partnership has the potential to bring everyone together. He also made it clear that if he is sidelined in any way, he would simply move forward with his own contracts and continue to focus on the projects he is involved in.
TKO know how to run a business and they like their margins. We've seen that with the UFC. I don't think they're going to be looking to pay super inflated purses. They're going to be looking to run a great business and a good product as well. So I don't know the substance of that. For us, we are the biggest promotional company in the world. Quite frankly, hands down, I am the best promoter in the world. I have a huge TV contract and contracts with broadcasters around the world that means I have to put on close to 35 shows a year. That's without Saudi Arabia. But of course, you know, we've thoroughly enjoyed the business with Saudi Arabia and I expect it to flourish and continue and go from strength to strength. You know, the league is outside of, it looks like, Riyadh season, the Ring Magazine events, the WBC Grand Prix, so many more layers to what Turki Alalshikh is doing. So, look, I love working with His Excellency and it's been some of the most fun parts of my career. If it ended tomorrow, which I don't believe it's going to at all, I'll go back to my 35 shows a year all around the world as we were. But I believe that there's a partnership a long-standing partnership with His Excellency.
While rumors have been circulating that this league has been discussed for some time, Eddie Hearn revealed that he had never been presented with any concept of such a league. Expressing his thoughts, he clarified that he had not entertained any proposals regarding the league with Turki Alalshikh. Hearn pointed out that TKO had already taken the ESPN rankings into account, and that's how things eventually unfolded. Despite not being involved in the initial stages, Eddie Hearn expressed optimism, assuming that this initiative will foster an atmosphere of collaboration for the betterment of boxing, ultimately benefiting the sport as a whole.
Yeah, I've not had a concept for a league. There was a discussion a while ago about a sort of bigger league structure. I think this is very different, but at the same time, it looks like TKO have taken ESPN's Top Rank contract, which is a blow for Top Rank, and now they have a great platform for that league and for that product. So, yeah, I'm not, I've never put a proposal forward to His Excellency for a league. I'm not a huge, not say a believer in it. I believe it can work, and I'm sure it'll work with TKO and Dana, but it's going to be interesting.
On the other hand, sports broadcaster Adam Catterall weighed in on the news of the new boxing league, highlighting the significance it could bring to the boxing world. He emphasized that with promoters potentially taking a back seat, fans would have the opportunity to focus more closely on the fighters, much like they do in the UFC.
It is splintered. There's a lot of rich old men controlling this game, and it needs to change massively, because the way that boxing is set up is that it is promoter first, fighter second, fan third. UFC doesn't work like that. Fan first, promoter second, fighter third. Now, you might agree or disagree with that, but I'm coming at this purely from a fan point of view. So the news today that I look at that, if I'm a fan of boxing, I am rubbing my hands together with glee, because you are about to get more of what you want. You're about to get more of the best guys against the best guys.
Catterall pointed out that this new model could bring clarity to the sport by reducing confusion, cutting down on unnecessary chatter, and placing a stronger emphasis on the fighters themselves, ultimately leading to one champion per weight class, something he believes is what everyone in boxing wants. In his view, this shift could have major ramifications for the current crop of prominent promoters, forcing them to adapt or risk being sidelined. Catterall sees this as a pivotal moment that could reshape how boxing is viewed and experienced, both by fans and those within the industry.
And you're about to get less confusion in the sport, less chat, more action. It's going to be so easy to understand, because I think we are going in the direction of having one champion per weight division, which we all want. Therefore, the sanctioning bodies, the alphabet guys, are about to become irrelevant, and this is also going to have big ramifications, in my opinion, on the current crop of prominent.
Voicing a somewhat similar opinion, Nick Pete also acknowledged the significance of this massive change in boxing. Quoting Mark Shapiro, he pointed out that this strategic move is not meant to rival Queensberry or other promotional companies, but rather to create a real, lasting change in the sports landscape.
Colossal, we come on to them in a moment, but the one statement, the one sentence that jumped off the press release to me earlier came from Mark Shapiro. He's the president and the COO of TKO Holdings, and he said, he reiterated, this is a strategic opportunity to reimagine the sport of boxing globally.
There you go.
This is not a change. This is not another option. This is not a step in a different direction. This is not a rival to Queensberry, Top Rank, Matchroom. This is a reimagining of the sport on a global scale. That's how significant this is. It's absolutely huge.
Pete believes this new league will address many of the frustrations boxing fans have long experienced. With the structure laid out in the league plan, he is optimistic that fans will finally get to see the fights they've been waiting for, as this new approach could eliminate the usual obstacles and red tape that have held back some of the sport's most anticipated matchups.
And you're right, what that means is, hopefully a lot of the things that we've had problems with boxing, especially over the last 9 years of doing our podcast, is too much politics getting in the way, too many TV networks fighting with one another, the best not fighting the best often enough. Come on, guys. How many times have we all sat there going, is Fury and AJ ever going to happen? That's gone on for almost a decade. Mayweather-Pacquiao was 5 years too late. We could sit here for hours going through the fights that didn't get made because of politics. Look at Tank. Look at Shakur. Come on, these are fights we need to see. Boxing needs to deliver. This new move forward. This new promotion is saying all those fights will happen.
All right, that wraps up today's discussion on the new boxing league and experts' thoughts on the whole situation. It's clear there's a lot of excitement around the future of boxing, but also some differing opinions on how things should move forward. What do you think? Will this new league elevate the sport, or is boxing just fine as it is? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on the latest updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.